So by the sound, you mean you would have a... What do you mean exactly by the sound? Do you mean like you'll hear something on the street and think, oh, how does that become an instrument? Or you'll hear something in your head that's a particular instrument and you separate it?
Well, see, for instance, the piece that I just wrote with for sextet, the piece opens with 3 of the 6 instruments, flute, violin, and cello. And actually, there's no flute in the entire piece. It's all piccolo or alto flute.
Oh.
And one of my favorite sounds, as a generic matter, is very low piccolo. Because you get, we were talking about the 3-part aspect of a sound.
Yeah.
So much of it is the attack part. If you divide, the chaff sound on an organ, well, that chaff sound is very similar to what you get with a low piccolo. What comes after, of course, is really different. But it's so flooded with chaff that I imagined the piece beginning with a kind of bird call, which is one slightly higher note followed by a whole bunch of these kind of chaff-like sounds. And so that's what I started the piece with. I just had the idea of this kind of chaff sound, and then I made a gesture about it, and then I used the violin and cello and natural harmonic to come up with chords that I thought balanced it. And there were so many of the chaff-like sounds because you get so little of the pitch that needed to be repeated to bring the pitch up. So I wrote 5 or 6 bars of that, and then I left it on my computer, and then I thought, well, before I go too far, I better come up with something for the other instruments. And then I did the same thing, thinking about what a guitar is like when it glisses on the first string up a huge interval, and what in a mandolin would balance with that sound. But I try to think of a bunch of idiosyncratic sounds. I hate coming up with material that I think of as generic pitch and rhythm, and then finding an interesting way to orchestrate it, because I often get attached to the pitch, and then I want that which makes the pitch most clear, and then it just kind of sits. First it sits on the paper, and then when it gets performed, it sits in the concert hall. And then even worse, might sit in a recording. But if the kind of sound is live, before I even deal with it, and I can then fold the pitches that work for me into it, I feel it comes out much better for me.